For me, self-love is understanding that you're a human being and you make mistakes, you have imperfection, and you have things that you're good at. But you're not always going to be perfect. You're going to lie, you're going to stumble, you're going to fail. This is the Emerald Podcast, where we empower you to choose yourself because there's no other human being that's more important in this world than you. This might sound selfish, but it's not. If you believe that choosing yourself is selfish, then I want you to know that self first isn't selfish, and I will tell you why. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Emerald Podcast. I'm your host, Emerald Victoria Odiandala, and today I am grateful for another podcast episode. I am grateful because the Lord is allowing me to come on here and talk to you. And if you're new to this podcast episode, I want to say welcome. If you haven't followed, please follow and share with someone who is struggling with self-love, because this podcast episode is going to be about self-love. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks later in this podcast episode. The reason why I want to talk about self-love today is because I've seen a lot of self-hate on social media, and one social media comment gave me this idea to come on here and give you these tips. And this person, I don't know who it is, but their comment went like, okay, so when you do like all these self-love work, then what? What do you mean, then what? If you think like that, that means you did not understand. The thing is, you have to understand that self-love has been around for decades, okay? It is definitely the core thing of human beings. Like, we need self-love. And because it has been around for decades, you have to understand that self-love is just a term that we have given it. It is something that you have to do. You have to love yourself. There's no choice in that. You know, one thing that helped me with my self-love journey is realizing that I am the only person. Like, I came on this earth alone. Of course, my mom brought me here with all of her powers, okay? Because my mom has many kids. You know, bless her heart. But she brought me on earth, right? I'm here. She gave birth to me, and I'm gonna die alone. All right. I have this one body. I have one heart. I have this, everything that I do, the eyes, the ears, and everything that I have was given to me. All right. So I have to learn to love it. I have to learn to love my body, to love me, myself inside out, because if I don't do it, I cannot depend on someone else to do it. I cannot depend on someone else to love me the way I should be loved. I am the person that should teach other people how to love me. I should teach people how to respect me. I should teach people how to be around me and respect me and set boundaries and all that. And that all comes with self-love. If you do not understand it, understand this. Self-love does not end, okay? So if you are out here thinking that you're just going to do some self-love, some self-care, some this and that, and then it's going to go away. No, people think that self-care is self-love, but self-care is actually part of self-love. It's an act that you actually do because you love yourself, okay? It's like a result. It's like a consequence of loving yourself. Because you love yourself, you're going to do self-care. Okay? So get that. So when I say self first isn't selfish, it means that you are putting yourself first in everything that you do in your life. Regardless if you have kids, if you have older parents, people that depend on you, it doesn't matter. You have to pour into yourself first. If you're Christian, the Bible talks about it. The Bible says that you have to love other people the way you love yourself. So if you don't know how to love yourself, how are you going to love other people? Anyways, so if you're struggling with self-love, I'm going to keep this straightforward. Just know that it's a journey. All right. Self-love is a journey, and I cannot define what self-love is for you. The first thing that you have to do if you're struggling with self-love, you actually have to define it for yourself. What does self-love look like for yourself? And maybe you haven't seen that. When we came on earth, you came on earth here and you grew up with parents or with an adult that taught you what self-love looks like. And maybe that was a toxic thing. Maybe the person was being beaten up or bullied some kind of way in their relationship, or they were always stressed, always working, and they were just all over the place. That is not self-love. You have to define what self-love is. And for me, self-love is me taking care of myself, me knowing my limit, when I need to rest, when I need to play, when I have energy for something and when I don't have energy for something. Self-love is when I set boundaries. We talked about boundaries last episode. So if you did not listen to that podcast episode, go ahead and listen to it, because I said a lot of things and I still have the book here. Go read it. All right. So take a moment. Okay, take a moment to define what self-love is for you. You have to be clear. You can even give yourself some examples of what self-love looks like. So you really have to define, what does self-love looks like in my life? How can I really put this into practice in my life? How can I love myself even more? Right? And if you need some help and you are a Christian, go read 1 Corinthians 13. I'm going to put the Bible verse down on the description, if I remember. But that Bible verse described what love is. If you don't know what love is, that's what love is. If you don't want to. So basically what I'm trying to say is, go read that. Go read that love part, even if you're not Christian, and then define what self-love is. Okay, based on that, because it's going to help you. If you don't know where to start there. Another thing is, write down the definition that also resonates with you. Something that you see and it's comfortable. When you hear it, it's comfortable with you, right? So when you're reading the Bible verse 1 Corinthians 13, make sure that, it resonates with you, because some of the things that's there, you're probably not going to be okay with, but that's fine. But ultimately, for me, self-love is understanding that you're a human being and you make mistakes, you have imperfection, and you have things that you're good at, but you're not always going to be perfect. You're going to lie, you're going to stumble, you're going to fail. And regardless of everything that you do, you need to love yourself throughout, no exception. There's no, I don't love you today because you did this. No, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say that I love you because you did your best today. I love you because you worked hard. I love you because regardless of what everyone said about you, I still loved you. Even you can look at yourself in the mirror. Even look at yourself naked in the mirror. Be intimate with yourself in the mirror and kind of describe what self-love looks like and what it means. And sometimes maybe you should hug yourself while you're doing that, because hugging yourself also will bring that intimacy, that, feeling that, okay, maybe I did not pour myself enough self-love, or maybe my glass is so empty that I need to start right now. So yeah, you start and you give yourself that hug. Now, another thing that I want you to do, which is tip number 2. Tip number 2 is definitely another reflection. So you have to reflect on the area of your life where lack of self-love is holding you back. The second point means that there are places in our heart, in our lives, that lack self-love. And if we can just look at it and be like, you know what if I had changed the way I talk to myself or the way I acted around this area, because that does not look like I love myself. What would happen if I actually treated this as like a self-love lesson, and how would that impact my life? Sit down, reflect on it, and then think about how that could be pure self-love, and how that pure self-love could have helped you move forward into the things that you want to accomplish, right? Maybe there's a lack of productivity. Maybe there's a lack of health, and when you are procrastinating or eating McDonald's all the time, you have to understand that when you change that and you change it into like a loving way of, treating yourself in a loving way and being like, okay, maybe I ate too much McDonald's. Maybe I should, cook, or maybe I should order something healthier. And then maybe I should also go and work out, and kind of look at how that could have changed your life. Maybe your health issues might have stopped or might have reduced, become more healthier because you treated yourself with care, with love. That's what tips number 2 is about. Is about looking about where you are not harnessing the power of self-love, because self-love is so powerful. One thing that I know, because I love myself, I'm not letting people play with me. And what I mean by that is take advantage of me. All right? I set boundaries. So the power of self-love comes with a lot of beautiful things. Self-love comes with many, many blessings. It can change your life for the better. Actually, it can change your life to become the way it should be. And life should be easy. Life should be, less hard, because we already have all these, work, school, all of this stress, external stress coming. You shouldn't be the person giving yourself some stress. Right? So if you're not setting boundaries, if you're not putting yourself first in areas that you should be, then that's an issue. You should work on that. And that's the power of self-love, is really bringing you into a point where you are healthier, your finances are straight, your spiritual health is good, your emotional and mental health is nice. Those are the 5 health that I just named. And when you love yourself, you take care of those 5 health. Now, tip number 3 is really about reminding yourself about what you've already done. So tip number 2 is you looking at the places that you haven't practiced self-love. And then now tip number 3, I want you to remind yourself that you are already loving yourself, because there are things that you take care of because you love yourself. Now I want you to reflect on those things. I want you to give yourself some points. Pat yourself in the back because you said, okay, you know what? I went to the gym for five times a week last week. That's a good thing. I'm already harnessing the power of self-love. I love myself. So I'm doing a lot of things that is for my own benefits, right? I'm putting myself first in this area. I rested. I did a self-care Sunday. I took bubble bath. I just relaxed and I didn't do anything. I procrastinated. Maybe procrastinating can also be a good thing, because if you've been doing a lot and now you don't have energy and you told yourself, you know what, let me just put a pause on this. Let me take care of it. Let me just watch a show for the day. Take the day off. That's good. You called in sick because you had mental health issues. That is good. So remind yourself that you are capable of loving yourself. Remind yourself that you are capable of putting yourself first, of looking into the needs that you have, and you actually take actions into it. So that's tip number 3. Now, tip number 4, embrace imperfection. Listen, we are in this world, like I said in the beginning, we are human beings. We're made of flaws. We are going to fail, because without failure, you are never going to succeed, because you need to learn. And the past is there for you to learn, okay? And the future is there for you to plan. That's my definition. Practicing self-love also means you practice self-compassion. A lot of people want everything done right away. People are so hard on themselves because they cannot get something right. But understand that that's part of the process. That's part of you growing. That's part of growth. If you are looking into dating someone and you're unable to, you've been doing the work and stuff, give yourself some compassion. Give yourself some grace. Maybe take a break, but understand that self-love comes with self-compassion. You cannot love yourself and not forgive yourself. You cannot love yourself and not being able to take it easy because you have the opportunity to. You are your own boss. You are your own leader, right? Your body definitely goes with your mind. If your mind says something, let's say I want to move, I want to go eat, I want to do this, you have to understand that it comes with it. So practicing self-compassion comes with understanding that you are not perfect. All right. You have to treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Whenever you see yourself telling yourself that you're not going to amount to anything, or being so critical with yourself, that is not good. You have to pause and remind yourself that it is okay. I am just a human being and I'm just learning. Okay, we're taking this one step at a time, and I can do this. I can. I'm not lazy. I'm not this. I'm not that. Remove every negative stuff that you're telling yourself. Of course, it's never going to stop. Believe me, I am my own big critic. All right. But I also pause and tell myself, hey, we tried, but this is what we're going to do now. All right. That's what it's called, self-compassion. Have that heart of forgiveness, have that heart of understanding and kindness. Because listen, if you are hard on yourself all the time, I don't understand how you're not like in the hospital or something like that, because you are stressing yourself, so be kind. All right. That's number 4. So number 5, if you are having a hard time being, compassionate with yourself and stuff like that, you have to understand that self-compassion, you have to treat yourself as if you're treating a kid. You have to treat yourself as if you're treating another person. I grew up with seeing a lot of people not treating their siblings the same way as they treat strangers. A lot of people can relate. Like, you can ask something from a sibling, they will say no, but if a stranger said it, they will say yes. Now, if you are that type of person that will treat your sibling differently than a stranger, you have to understand that you're probably treating yourself the same way. So what that means, if you are struggling with self-love, you have to understand that you have to foster self-compassion. You have to treat yourself as if you're treating someone else. If someone else comes to you with an issue, you don't yell at them. It's the same thing as yourself. If you are unable to do something, don't yell at yourself. Don't be so mean to a point where you're just going to fall into depression because you're unable to figure things out. And you are not going to be able to figure it out because you're so hard on yourself. You need to enter your need. You need to put yourself first. You need to understand that when you're faced with failure, when you're faced with challenges, you have to understand that this is something that's okay to go through. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be sad because you didn't accomplish one thing, but understand it's not the end of the world. You have to treat yourself as if a kid came to you and be like, oh, I failed my test. What are you going to tell your kid? Are you going to say, hey, you are not going to amount to anything? No, you're going to say it's fine. Try again next time. Maybe study more. Do the same thing for yourself. If you're going on a date and you've been on dates and dates and dates and dates and you are not in a relationship, like for a whole year you've been on dates and you're not in a relationship, tell yourself that it's okay. It's nothing that has to do with you. There's nothing wrong with you. But what I can say when it comes to dating is understanding that there are things that can be fixed, but you're not going to give yourself hell because you're unable to find a partner. It's probably you're in the wrong city, or probably you're, dressed too casually when you go out. You're not giving your best, but don't be hard on yourself. Don't start hating yourself because people will see it. When you're going out there on dates, people can tell if you actually take care of yourself or not. The last thing is take action steps. All right. So I told you a lot about self-love, the 6 tips on fostering your self-love journey and enjoying self-love. One thing that I want you to understand, that self-love is one step at a time. You have to take baby steps. It's not today that I learned how to love myself. It started since 2018 when I told myself enough is enough. I am not going to put myself in other situations like this. But I did not just become this person today. I did not just find the boyfriend that I have today, like right away. No, I had to go through another breakup. another hard breakup to actually, I was so frustrated that day too, because I'm like, I'm working on myself. I'm doing all of these things. Why, God? Why? And I remember I was crying. This is probably going to be another podcast episode, but I also understood that you have to start small. Like, you cannot just be like, okay, I love myself now. Okay, what now? What? That's just you telling yourself that you don't, because you did not do the work. So it starts small. Okay, you have to start small by incorporating things like self-care, things like self-compassion. Take a bubble bath today, maybe work out once a week and then go twice a week. That type of things. Take it one step at a time. Don't give yourself a hard time also because you haven't done it. You're not someone that works out 5 times a week. So why are you going to push yourself to work out 5 times a week? Start small, maybe once a week and then twice a week, and then go up until you get comfortable, and that's becoming a habit. Even self-care Sunday, if you miss one self-care Sunday, don't be like, oh, I can't do this. This is too much. No, try again. All right, do something. Maybe practice mindfulness. Be mindful, and being mindful is super hard. Okay, being in the present moment is super hard, and I'm telling you this because it took me years for me to be like, okay, let me focus on my breathing, and now I'm just like, okay, I forgot that I was focusing on my breathing because something came up, and then now I'm just frustrated. Go back to your breathing. Take it one step at a time. Don't get frustrated because you forgot to be mindful. Just take it one step at a time, all right? So those were the 6 tips that I had for you today. And before I let you go, I just wanted to say and remind you that self-love is a journey. Self-love do not stop. It has been there since we were created, okay? Today we are just putting a term to it and giving you all these tips, but it's been there for a long time. A lot of people do things out of benefit for themselves, and that's because they love themselves. A lot of people do not point it out, do not say that it's self-love. A lot of people go to the gym. A lot of people take care of the money. A lot of people take care of their family. A lot of people take care of their body, groom themselves well, smells well, do that and all that, do things that they want to do because they love themselves, and they don't think about it because that's how they grew up and that's how they learned from their parents who love themselves too. So it is something that came down. But for people like us that didn't learn from others, we have to learn from ourselves. We have to learn through books, which I'm gonna give you some at the end in the description. I'm gonna give you some books that have helped me, but all I want to tell you is do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on self-love. Love yourself every day. You listening to this podcast episode also proves that you love yourself because you want to get better. All right. So always teach yourself that it is okay to be selfish. All right. Remember that. All right. Before I let you go, I just wanted to tell you that I love you and I'm rooting for you. If you need assistance, hit me up on Instagram at @DMrance, even on TikTok. But remember, self first isn't selfish. Bye-bye.